product, price, placement, processes. You are talking about processes. Understand the current space that you're in. And by the way, it gets very daunting as you're building a brand, trying to write the music, trying to practice and rehearse this music. It gets very daunting then trying to understand, how do I market this thing? How do I push this thing? There are people who do that work, for example. Do you have friends around you who, if you're not able to afford a professional service, do you have friends around you who are also learning or trying to build a career in that space that you need a service in? Can you work together? That helped us in our path or in our journey as Shamsi Music. Working with people who are good at, or who are trying to learn, who are good at what they do, but they're trying to get into that space. If it's the marketing space, can we work together? Can you work together? Just so that you're able, again, I guess, to concentrate on your core thing, which is trying to make the music because the music, the why and the music build the brand. People is the next thing, your audience. Have you identified your audience to granulate it as much as possible? Is it ladies? Is it men? What's their age group? Where are they found? Where do they consume their music? Is it in church? Is it at home? Is it in the club? Is it on radio? Is it on YouTube? Where do you find them on the weekend? How do you make sure your music is serving their needs and purposes at whatever point they are in their day or in their lives? If you're getting, or if you want your brand to be represented by certain people, are they a fit for your brand? Certain marketers, are they a fit for your brand? Do they align to your why? Do they align to your core values, and so on and so forth? Then most importantly, we need physical evidence of your brand claim. So if you say that you play this music, or we are great, we are good people, we are fantastic storytellers, that's you marketing yourself. But does your brand actually translate? When I come and sit down and listen to your band, does the music make me feel what you said it will make me feel? In my process of booking you as a booking agent or as an event producer, does what you say about yourself translate to my experience in booking you if I'm an event producer, and so on? Let me just draw a quick parallel between branding and marketing. Branding is who you are. Marketing is what you do, or what you do or how you push your brand. Branding is long term. So you're going to build a brand over time. If you remember from the story that I shared, it took a while for us to build the brand, to understand to define our why, to understand it, to define our what, to understand it, to define our how, to understand it. It's a long-term process. And as time goes, your brand will keep evolving. You'll rarely stay at the same place. Take the example of Sauti Sol, for example. The music that they composed off of their Mwanzo album and what is there currently, or how the journey to what is there currently, very different things. I do feel, for example, that the Midnight Train is a much more sophisticated form of Mwanzo. But for them to get to a place where they want to play their music the way they want to play it, as they did on Midnight Train, they had to go through a process of building an audience, marketing themselves, going out of their comfort zone, going out of what they had defined as the kind of music they want to do, just to build, or basically to evolve over time. Branding is long term. Marketing is short term, and by short term I mean it's targeted. You decide that your brand, as your brand grows, it gets to a point where it sells itself. But in the process of building your brand as a band, you're going to have events, you're going to have music that you want to sell, you're going to have experiences that you need to create. You need to have marketing plans at each point of those elements of your journey that pushes that particular element, that is targeted also. Marketing has Marketing has a proper marketing plan, has targets, and it costs money, but you need to spend money to make money. Branding results in loyalty to your brand. If I understand that you guys, as your this band A, band Y, or Shamsi Music, once I interact with your band and your brand and your product, and I love it, and I love who you are, basically, I become a loyal fan. Marketing results in a response. If you're doing ads on the digital space, if you're pushing a certain event or a certain product, people respond. So whereas branding brings out loyalty, marketing brings out a response. Branding creates value. Once you continue to build your why, your who, your why, your what, and your how, you create a valuable product and you create a valuable brand. And that brand is what we use to extract value, to make money, to push in marketing, promotions, and so on and so forth, to earn you or to return some value for the time that you've put in. Marketing extracts value, on the other hand, because you need to pump money into it to make money. If you look at all the big brands outside the music space, corporate brands, look at the look at the drink space, for example. If you look at Coke, their budget for marketing is tremendous. Sometimes you even ask yourself, if I'm spending all this money to market this brand, how do I measure the value? It's difficult at times to measure. There are enough people online who can tell you perhaps how to go about assessing the impact of a promotion or a marketing plan, and so on and so forth. But what you need to understand is, for a successful marketing plan, you need to extract some value or some money from your brand. Branding is strategic, marketing is tactical. Strategic, long term; tactical, short term. Branding appeals to your emotion, and which is, let me say, branding appeals to your emotion and marketing appeals to your sense of reason. The emotional draw or the emotional pull that your brand has is what helps when you have a marketing plan, or when you're pushing a promotion and so on. It helps appeal to the reason of that person, for them to part with their money or to part with their time and give it to you. The branding and marketing comparison. I hope you took some notes so that you can begin to understand the differences, the parallels, and how they apply to your journey. And for it to make sense, I'll ask you a few questions. Think through your brand. What's your why? As you're starting this band or as you're building this band, what's your why? Do you understand your why? Do you understand how to propagate that why or that vision and that mission? Do you understand what the product is that you're pushing to your audience? Do you understand your audience? Do you understand how to reach them? Think through your brand. Think through your USP or your value proposition, your unique selling proposition. What are you offering the world that no one else can? That sets you apart, that keeps you on the shelf longer, that keeps you in circulation longer. What compels you to do what you do? Again, that's your why. Because when things are hard, when there's no money, when COVID strikes, those are the things, the why. What compels you to do what you're doing is what will keep you at it, or what will make you fold or close shop. What are your core values? How does your music or your band reflect your drive and your values? Again, who is your audience? I'll ask you that again, because then your product as a band needs to service an audience and need to meet a need that an audience has. Otherwise, if you're not meeting a need, then your shelf life becomes very short. Are you meeting a need? Who is your audience? And finally, how are you building an emotional connection with them? Human beings are emotional beings. It's paramount that you're able to build an emotional connection. because then that is the door, or that's the doorway into their sense of reason. Into them, the sense of reason basically then is what stands between you and that shilling that you're trying to make, and that 5 minutes that you're trying to extract from this person. I hope that this conversation has been helpful. There are a few resources, there are people online. You can reach out to me if you have questions. My social media handles are at Kenn Biggie, KENNBIGGIE, standard across all of them. If you have questions, reach out. And as you examine or look into bands that you like that have become successful or that espouse the success that you want, as you dig into that, as you learn that, I'll also implore you to go out of the space, out of the scene, into other spaces where successful brands have been built. It will make you, or it will tickle your creativity. It will help you, look at things different. Some of the two instances or the two products that I'll share with you that have been instrumental in my understanding of branding and marketing is the story of Nike, Shoe Dog, a book by Phil Knight. Have a look at that book. It will shape your understanding of how to build a brand from scratch. And Chobani being Chobani, which is a Greek yogurt product in the US, started by a guy from Turkey. Read the story of Chobani and you'll understand how to be a risk taker, how to be on time, and on time by on time I mean how to harness an idea in its right time, and how to build a successful brand, and just how to go against the grain. If this is what people are doing and if this is how people are going, how do you go against that and build a name for yourself? Thank you for your time.
Marafiki wako tuna celebrate na nyinyi. Watu wana expect mwana wa Mary, mwana wa pili, mwana wa tatu, mwana wa 4, 6, 5.